You can also type in the chat if you want to.
Thank you.
So someone asked, is it necessary to have graphs on a business plan? So we will talk about graphs. Okay. Anyone else?
Please, I want to know, why is it important to pitch up to sharp at work every day? An explanation of the how vital that is, please.
You mean as the leader?
Just as a leader or as a supervisor, or just to pitch up, show up at work rather than sit at home with the laptop and the internet and take a back seat because we can, it's COVID.
Okay. So during COVID.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. And then anyone have a last one? We could just go up to 5 today. Going once, going twice? No, okay, so we'll stick with 4. So the expectations are practical knowledge of business plan, advantages of an effective business plan. Do you need graphs in the plan? And why is it important to show up at work every day as a leader during COVID? Okay, so now we're going to move on. So what skills are needed in business? So project management skills, communication skills, time management, conflict resolution, presentation skills, public speaking skills, being active. When I say active citizens and change agents, it's having a mindfulness about the community around you and not only being focused on profits, not only being focused on your own personal needs or your own business needs, but also looking more broadly and trying to make a positive change in your society. So that's what our organization does. And that's why it's very important to mention that. Solving social, environmental, educational, and economic challenges in your community. I say school or community because, as I say, we run a program in schools, but this applies to everyone. Every business should have this focus. So how do you write a business plan using the methodology that we've been using for the last 12 years? So these are the steps. There's 9 steps over here. The first one is how to form and manage a team. Then roles and responsibilities, research, which is SWOT analysis, mapping, and mind map. 4 is identifying the topic and describing it. The topic is the business. Finding the target markets and brainstorming solutions, planning the actions and budgeting, managing the team and doing the actions, and then showing evidence, proving impact and sustainability, and then talking about it, communication and motivation. So we're going to go through each one step by step. Once I've done the introduction on each step, if you have any questions, you're welcome to either say them or write them in the chat. Just going to check what chats things there are here. Okay, so someone has asked about measuring up against business cases. Okay, let me just type this into the expectations. Measuring up against business cases. So I suppose competitor analysis. Then the other one is it's mainly about financial things or other things. And then is it necessary to mention our main target in our business plan? Look, we almost got to 10. Okay. So step 1 is how to form and manage a team. Now this, obviously a lot of you might already have a team, or you might be someone who's working by yourself, so you don't need a team. And some of you are setting out, brand new, putting a team together. But either way, it's good to know the foundation and the basics of it, because in your business plan, you need to talk about that. You need to say who you are, who makes up this organization. Is it just you? And if it's you, what about yourself makes you the person that's qualified to do this? If it's you plus other people, who are the other people? How do they fit in? What do they do? Why did they become part of the team? And the team element, also just running an organization, team is very important. It's not just having people around you. That's just a group of people that do things, but a team is a cohesive unit that is working towards a common goal. So that's what you need to put into that business plan, because people who don't know anything about your business are going to read this and find out that information in this document. So it needs to have quite a lot of background information that you think no one would care about, but they do actually care, because they want to know, what am I getting involved with? What kind of values do these people have in this team? What is their goal? What is their experience and their qualifications. So not to go into a lot of detail, but something that encapsulates what your team is about and how you manage to create a team that's cohesive and doesn't get swayed by conflict, how you're managing to work remotely, as we mentioned before, COVID times. So that's something that can be very important, is to put in there, even though it's COVID times, we've managed to pivot our business and our team is working remotely, or we come in 2 days a week, or however you manage it. Some people have rotation systems. However it is that you work, you can put that into step 1, which is how to form and manage a team. And you won't write step 1 in your business plan. You'll just put the heading, our team. You can obviously customize it accordingly, but those are the elements that need to be in there. Okay, will be copies of the slides? Yes. Okay. So that is the team. Do you have any questions about the team before I move on? You're okay. Okay, so step 2, roles and responsibilities. So now that you know who the team is, what do they each do? And this is important for running the business, not only for the business plan. Remember, the plan is like a blueprint that you're going to use to action your business. So it needs to have the details of who's doing what. And especially with a small organization, it gets a bit gray, the gray areas come in a bit, where people start to forget which section they're supposed to be in charge of. And then something gets missed out and the ball drops, and then people start blaming each other and all of that. So it's very important to know upfront, who is doing what is their role, what is their responsibility. So job plans, job descriptions, things like that are very important. And also everyone must agree to their job description, and they must agree to what they're doing. They can't just be assigned it and they don't really know what to do, or they don't want to do that. It needs to be a negotiation and discussion so that everyone is clear at the end that that is what they're doing. And some organizations use timesheets to manage a team. Others don't. It's more outcomes based, so if there's a specific thing that needs to be done by a specific time, then it doesn't matter if they do it, 2 hours every day or 5 hours every day. As long as it's done by the end deadline, it's fine. So it depends on what kind of business you're in, and you can decide how to do that. But in the team, you have to agree on it. Communication is key. So that is the key message for step 2. Then we have a chat over here. Yes, a copy will be sent. That is correct. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about roles and responsibilities that you've maybe been through a challenge around that, or that you want to ask a question about it?
Hi, Amanda. Could I just ask, how do you sort of deal with the challenge of sort of motivating versus policing?
Mm-hmm. Motivating versus policing. Okay. So when it's policing, it means that people don't really want to do it, that they don't have that internal motivation to make it happen. So then you feel like you have to force them to do it by having like the carrot and the stick method, but the carrot's not working, so using the stick. So you have to find out what it is that's causing that reluctance of them to actually do it without you having to police them. And that involves some kind of team building event. You can have a meeting with the team and say, okay, so guys, we're in this room because we need to make sure that all of us are on the same page, that we all have the same goal in mind, that we all have the motivation to get there. And if there's anything that is not working for you, let's talk about it now. Let's get it done and let's resolve it. Because if it just festers and continues, then it's going to, poison everything, basically. So the policing part of it, it shouldn't be that necessary if there's a motivation. So you need to find out what is the motivation so that it keeps on being highlighted. And then you have to work out, those ones who still don't want to be, on the right track. What is it that's the problem? And the best way to do that is to have an anonymous session so that it's not like them being singled out. And then if that doesn't work, or exactly who it is, then you can have a one-on-one session with them and just, actually discuss it and say very openly, like, I've noticed that things aren't really working out very well. Is there anything that you need me to help you with? Is there anything that is not, going according to plan? Like, what is it that I can do to make this journey easier for both of us? And then you can also tell if it's a person that just doesn't want to be there, because you might get someone who just is there because they want the money, they don't really care about the job. And you don't need those people. So that's another process to get, people that you want to be there and people who want to be there. You both have to want the same thing. And then the second one is that you want to keep them motivated by keeping up with the plans that you put in place, and everyone knowing that you're going in the same direction and you're not going to change your mind halfway or promise something and not deliver on it. That's where things go wrong. Like if you say, we're going to have this target of achieving a certain goal, and then you're going to get this kind of benefit when that happens. And then let's say the goal's achieved and the benefit doesn't come. Then people start getting demotivated. They're like, well, you know, I've done my best here and I'm not getting anything out of it. And then obviously they're not going to try again. So there's many issues that can cause that. But my key thing is communication. So I'd say have a meeting with them, you know, try and get the real cause of the issue. Don't just treat the symptom, but treat the cause so that it doesn't go out of control.
Okay, sorry, I can ask, what kind of timesheets are you talking about to manage the team? Please.
Okay, so sometimes there's an organization that runs according to timesheets where you actually charge per hour. So then you would have a timesheet with the person's name, you know, the hours that they put into whatever task it is, and then they'd, you know, you'd sign it and they'd sign it. So by the end of the month, you'd say there were 10 hours of work by that person. And these are the outlines of what they did, so that it's very specific and it's very detailed, and you can see exactly what each person put into that job. So that's some organizations, they run it like that. It's a time-based organization. It's like lawyers charge per hour, okay? So their timesheets are very important. Even if they put in, you know, half an hour on a certain client's work, they'll put in there exactly, you know, what the time was, like 8:50 till 9:15. That's the time I spent on whatever client's work. So then that is all compiled at the end, and that's how they work out how to charge the clients. So that's where timesheets come in. But some jobs don't work like that. They're not time-based. It's just you need to have a deadline, and by, you know, the 15th of March, you need to have your strategy approved and finalized. So then by that time, it must be done. So it's not per hour, but it's just outcomes-based. So it depends on what organization you run that you decide how you're going to do that. And there are some templates on timesheets that will come up just now. Similar kind of timesheets. Okay, we've got another question in the chat. No, just thank you. Okay, anyone else have questions on roles and responsibilities? Good, okay. So now you've got the roles and responsibilities, and there's a little table that you can use for that. It just says role, responsibility, and name. So it's quite simple. And then for step 3, that's the research. So this is how did you come up with the business that you were getting into, or the one that you want to get into. So the first thing is to do a SWOT analysis. So there's 2 kinds of SWOT analysis. The first one is one of your specific team, you know, the people in the team. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? So what are you good at? What are you not that good at? What is an opportunity? What could be amazing? And a threat, what could actually destroy you? So those are the 4 things that you talk about within your team. And then a SWOT analysis of that, that business that you're going into or that you are in. So you can put those in there in a table. So it'll be 4 quadrants, and each one has one of those elements. So it's quite nice and neat. And then the next one is to have a map. So especially if your business is a physical, you know, based place, a location, then a map is very important. So you would draw a map of the area that you're in, and you would say where all of the challenges are, or where all of the gaps are that you want to fill as a business. So you would sit down with the team and you would go through this exercise where you'd say, okay, so in this community that we're in, there's these certain areas that have these issues, and we want to fix those specific issues in that area. So let's say you are, let's say you're building a school, okay? So you're building a school, but right next door to the place where you want to build the school, there's an alcohol shop. So that's a bit of a challenge. So you have to think about that. Is it a good place to build the school if you've got an alcohol shop right next door, which is going to be quite bad because the kids are going to walk past it every day on their way to school and back. So you have to think about that. You have to think about accessibility. Is it a place that's easily accessible, or is it far and not easy to find? Is it something that people will see as they're driving, or is it something that they have to, you know, search for because it's not on a main road? So it depends on what location it is and what business it is, but the map can be a very nice exercise to see where all those challenges could be, especially if you're doing retail, things like that. You know, if your shop is in the corner, the bottom level, and no one walks past it, are you going to get the right business? Because you need people to see where you are, and you need them to just walk in as they're going to another shop. Or is it a business that doesn't really involve that? It's just people coming to collect things that they've ordered online or they've ordered on the phone, so that you don't need that you know, foot traffic. So you need to think about that, the location. And then we're going to now do a very interesting practical exercise called the Systemic Stairway. And this is basically an exercise to prioritize your ideas. And it's firstly a brainstorming technique, and then it's also a way to look at new business ideas. So it could be your current business, and you want to expand it. You want to add a new element to it. So you're thinking, what can I add to my business now? And you can use this to prioritize what it would be that you would add, whether it's a new product or a new service. You know, it depends on what it is. And also can be used as a normal, you know, technique within your actual business of maybe you've got these products or maybe you've got these services, but some of them are not doing as well as you thought. And some of them you want to start putting more energy into. This will show you how to do that and which ones are more lucrative and more, they're going to be more successful. So the ideas for the systemic stairways, firstly, if you would do this in your team, you would have a post-it notes. As Tracy mentioned, there's always post-it notes in these workshops, because everyone in the team would get a post-it note and then they would write down ideas on the notes without their names. So it's very anonymous. You don't want people to censor themselves and be scared to say something because they might be seen as stupid, you know, like, oh, how can you say an idea like that? That's so stupid. You don't want that kind of thing to happen. Not that it should happen in your team. Remember, you've got a good team. But on those notes, if there's no name, then it's just the idea that you're assessing. You're not assessing who said it. So that's why we would do it like that. But obviously now we can't, you know, do it the same way because it's online. So I'm going to ask you to write in the chat your ideas for this. And we're going to come up with 10 ideas of a business, a product or a service that you think would be a very good idea to do now within COVID times in Johannesburg. So that's our target area is Johannesburg. It's a product or a service, and it's in COVID times. Obviously, don't talk about things like events for 5,000 people, because that's not going to happen during COVID times. So all of you come up with some ideas and let me know, and then I'll show you how the process works. And we'll write them down on this here. We only need 10 of them, and some of them might be similar, so we'll group them together. So anyone have any ideas? And this can be something that already exists, or it can be something new. So just think outside the box and see what you come up with as an idea of a business, a product, a service. COVID times and Johannesburg are your key words. Okay, we've got one. Online theatre, there we go. Virtual assistant. Corporate virtual backgrounds.
I would say smart TVs.
Great. Plumbing service, smart TVs. Okay. Anything else?
Fiber connected buildings, more fiber connected buildings.
Fiber connected.
So more easy internet connections where there's a lot of overload in a condensed area, urban area.
Okay. So fiber connected buildings in business areas. Okay.
Or home areas where there are businesses being run. Residential areas.
Yeah. Residential and business, or just
yes.
residential? Okay.
Thanks.
Now we've got one for face masks. Okay, 3 more.
I would say maybe stick blenders to make softer food for COVID connected sick people living at home with families.
Okay, we've got African virtual mall, and one more. Who hasn't said anything yet? I could be cruel and just save people's names, but it's not school. Okay, there, water supply. Okay, we've got 10, so you're off the hook for now. So these 10, now we have to group them because we only need 5 for this exercise. So let's see which ones would go together to make 5. So some things are connected, like if you look at plumbing and water supply, there might be some similarity there, or Corporate virtual backgrounds and virtual assistants, they might be in a similar kind of genre. What do you think is the mix of these to make 5? And some of them will fall off the list. They won't fit in anywhere. But we're looking for 5 specific businesses.
I would combine virtual assistants, fiber, and corporate virtual backgrounds.
Okay, does everyone agree with that, or does anyone have any other ideas? So it was virtual assistant with corporate virtual backgrounds and fiber. You think those go together? One business? If you're happy, you can also do the little thumbs up emoji if you know how to use that on Zoom. Okay, it seems like no one's complaining, so we're going to do that. Great. So the first one, we'll call it connectivity. Connectivity and services and online services. Connectivity and online services. That covers those 3 areas. So we'll put in brackets which ones it covers, just in case we forget. So it's the virtual assistant, it's the corporate backgrounds, and it's the fiber. Company can do all those 3 things. Perfect. Okay, the second one. So there's this online theater, plumbing service, smart TVs, face masks, stick blenders, virtual mall. I think that online theater might go nicely with virtual mall. They're both online, they're both experiences. Who thinks that that could be a good idea? Online theater and virtual mall? Got a chat here. Agree, 2, 3, and 5. Great.
Sorry, sorry, Amanda, I can't get onto the chat because I'm on my cell, but I would say the theatre is entertainment, whereas online shopping is something very different. It's shopping is where you pay for a product, and the theatre is entertainment. So it's a different. It's different.
Well, let's think about that. Okay, so when you go to the mall, usually there's a movie theatre, right? So even though you're at the mall and you want to shop, you can also go and chill and have a movie experience. So wouldn't a theatre, an online theatre, be the same kind of thing? While you're on there shopping, you're also like, hold on, there's actually a show I wanted to see. Let me book the tickets while I'm here. And then you won't see it exactly the same time that you're buying stuff, but at least you can book the tickets and then come back when you're ready and watch it. I see a good...
Yeah.
I misunderstood. I thought online shopping was where you don't shop, where you actually sit at home and shop from your screen.
Yeah, it is. It is. So it's the same thing. If you sit at home and watch a theatre show, or you shop, you can buy your theatre tickets while you're shopping and then come back and watch the theatre when you're ready. So it doesn't have to be at the same time.
Okay.
But you can buy them while you're there. You'll see the option of it. People buy experience. Yeah. So I think that could be quite a nice mix. So I'm going to.
You could also order your popcorn and that for when you do book the play when you're online shopping as well. So
yeah, so it's a perfect match, I think. Because we already have those apps where you can order your popcorn and everything before you even go. So now you don't have to go. You can just they can have a thing where you order your popcorn and they deliver it to you, and then you watch the theatre show on your computer. You know, it's quite a COVID age thing to do. Just make everything online. Everything's virtual. No one's going to theatre. Theatre's not open. So let's find another way of doing it. So I think that's a good one. The third one, let's see what mixes here. There's the plumbing service, and then we've got the water supplier. Do you think they can go together? 4 and 10.
Yes, I think myself can go together because plumbing service, like we can't use any machine and we can't use online, so we just come and repair. Even for water supplier, yes, we're gonna need water maybe to some places where there's a shortage of water we supply, so we can't use online to make markets. So we can only use it online to make maybe market our and our service also.
Yeah, but it's something that has to be done physically. You can't do that.
Yeah, we can't done it by online or
Yeah.
machine. We can't install toilets or bathroom with a machine.
We're not at that level yet. One day, maybe, when robots are around.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got two more. So the two that are still there, there's this the face masks and the stick blenders. So should we have them as separate things? Face masks is one, because I don't think they go together. Face masks are very different to stick blenders. And I think the stick blenders could be diversified into more things that can be used for people who are home and sick.
Yeah, you could probably connect face masks in that. If you're sick, you're going to self-isolate, and people who aren't sick are going to want to be protected, so they could wear the face masks when bringing you the food that's made with the stick blenders and that.
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, the face mask would go for all of these. You know, it would definitely go with the plumbing, because the plumbers need to come with their face mask to come and install your toilet and whatever. They need to also be for the people who are delivering anything to you. So that it goes across all levels, but I think it's a separate industry because it's something that you're making that is specific. So we needed 5, we've got 5. Let's leave that as a separate thing. We don't have to combine it with anything. And it can be other PPE. So let's say face masks and other PPE, because maybe it also includes sanitizer, maybe it also includes those outfits that the doctors have to wear. You know, let's not only limit it to face masks, but things related to that for COVID. Then you've got a bit more of a diverse offering. Okay, we've got our 5 items here, which is great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a diagram. Well, I'm going to draw it here, and then you'll see it looks like this at the end. So there's 5 blocks. That's why we needed 5 items. And we're going to compare them. And then from there, we're going to get ratios and see which ones come out as the most innovative, the most lucrative, the most successful out of all of them. Okay, great. Thanks, Kim. So for, let's just put them into blocks. So I'm going to make it's green, yellow, blue. Just getting the right colors here. Green, yellow, blue, red, and light blue. Okay, so those are the colors. So I'm going to just draw this on my side, and then I will populate that diagram there on the screen. Usually I would do this on the big whiteboard and you'd see everything happening, but we have to adapt. So we're going to start with the yellow block, and we're going to call the yellow block the connectivity one. Okay, so that's connectivity. Anyone want to draw this on their side, you're welcome to. It's a 5-pointed star, and we just going to draw this first before we get confused with what's going on. So the second one, you see next to the yellow block is the green one, and that's the online shopping and the theater. Okay, then the next one is the light blue block, and that is the plumbing and water. Okay, then the next one is the red one, and the red one is the face masks and PPE. Okay, and then the last one is the dark blue block, and that is stick blenders and other devices. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to compare each one. And now this is where the debate comes in, because you're going to have to convince each other as to what you think is correct here. So when I say look at the most lucrative, the most, like basically if you're looking at the low-hanging fruit, the one that you want to start with that's going to give you the most income, the least risk, unless the income is really big and it's worth the risk, the one that is going to be long-lasting, you know, something that can continue even after COVID time. Because remember, we're starting during COVID, but what happens when COVID's all resolved, everyone's been vaccinated, there's no more COVID, then is your business going to die? So you also have to think of that. But also maybe you're going to use this as a stepping stone and make the money and then diversify into something else when COVID is not here anymore. So it depends on what you're looking for, short-term or long-term. I'm still seeing your previous slide. Okay, does everyone see the grouping ideas one? We haven't moved on from there yet. So we're still on the grouping ideas slide, and then we will move to the ratios after that. But we first have to compare these two. So I'm going to leave this one open. So the grouping ideas one. So between connectivity and online shopping, I need you guys to vote. So you need to say which one or two. So connectivity or online shopping, which one do you think is the one that's going to be the most income generating, successful? There's the least competition right now. It's something that can be based in, remember we said Johannesburg. Not that it has to be only Johannesburg, because online is anywhere. So that doesn't even matter, especially with online. So which one would you think is going to be the winner between connectivity and online services or online shopping and theatre? So let's see the votes. So we've got number 2. So number 2 is the online shopping. We've got 1 vote for that. And then Nicholas also says online shopping. We've got 2 votes for online shopping. Does anyone else have a vote for online shopping or connectivity? Another one for online shopping. Okay, online shopping is winning. You can see that, right? So what we do now, if we were on this slide here, we would draw a line, an arrow, from the online shopping, because it's the most popular, to the connectivity, because it's the least popular. So we only got 1 vote for the other one. So we draw the arrow, as you see that little arrow, like that green one. Online shopping has drawn an arrow towards connectivity. Great. Now we're moving on to the next one, okay? So the next one is between connectivity, which is number 1, and number 3, okay? Connectivity or the plumbing. So vote between 1 and 3, connectivity or plumbing. Which one is the one that you would work on? Okay, we're getting a lot of 1s. Connectivity is winning over plumbing. Is it, I think 2 3s only, but we've got lots of 1s. Okay, so it looks like, oh, there's another 3. Let's see, maybe we have a tie. We have 1. No, 1 is still winning. Oh, 3 is coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then 1s, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1. Sean has just been the tiebreaker. 1 won that round. So between connectivity and plumbing, connectivity 1. So you draw an arrow from connectivity to plumbing. Okay. Then between connectivity and face masks, 1 and 4. Connectivity and face masks, which one would you choose? Okay, we've got 1 for 4, so face masks is winning. Now we've got a 3 now. We need a 4. It's between 1 and 4. Connectivity and face masks. Connectivity is winning. Connectivity. Okay. Connectivity won that round. So we draw the arrow from connectivity to face masks. Now between connectivity and stick blender. Connectivity 1, stick blender 5. Which one? 1 or 5? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Connectivity beat the blenders. Okay. So that is connectivity done. Now we're moving on to the next one. We're doing the online shopping. So between online shopping and plumbing, 2 or 3, which one is going to be better? Online shopping and theatre or plumbing? Okay, that's 2 or 3. So we've got lots of 2s here. Oh, 2 is winning. Okay, online shopping is beaten the plumbing. Now between online shopping and face masks, 2 or 4. Online shopping and face masks, which one? 2 is winning. There's 1, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4. There's a lot more 2s than 4s. So online shopping beat face masks. Then between online shopping and the stick blender, 2 or 5. Oh, online shopping is winning here. Online shopping beat the stick blenders. Okay. Then we're moving on to the plumbing. So between the plumbing and the face masks, 3 or 4. 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 3, 3. Okay, that's quite a mixed one. Let's have a look. 3s, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think we need a tiebreaker between 4 and 3. Plumbing versus face masks. 3. Okay, plumbing beat face masks. Then between plumbing and stick blender, 3 or 5. Plumbing or stick blender? 3, 5, 3, 3, 5. So that's 2 5s, more 3s. 3 is 1. Okay, so plumbing beats stick blender. Okay, and then between plumbing and connectivity. So 3 versus 1. Got 3, 1, 1, 3, 3. So that's 3 3s and 3 1s. We need a tiebreaker here. 3. Okay, plumbing beats connectivity. Oh, but then there's a 1. Now it's untied. Okay, let's think about this. Connectivity versus plumbing. Need a tiebreaker. Three. Okay. Plumbing beat connectivity. Then between face masks and stick blender, 4 or 5? 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. Yeah, 4 is 1. Lots of 4s. Yeah, so it looks like we've got all of them. We've covered everything. So now we have to add up the ratios. So now we go to this section here. So the yellow idea. Okay, so let's just say what yellow was. Yellow was connectivity. The green one was online shopping and theatre. The turquoise one was plumbing. The red one was face masks. And the blue, dark blue one was stick blender. Okay, so the ratio. So the number where the arrow goes out, that is counted as the winner, right? So that would be the 1. Where the arrow goes in is the loser. So if I look at this yellow one, it's not going to look like the one I've got on my page. So don't look at that one, but I'm comparing the one I've drawn here. From connectivity, how many arrows go out of connectivity? Okay, so the ones that are going out, not in. So how many went out? There's 1, 2. Okay, so I can see that 2 of them went out and 2 went in. So it'll be 2 colon 2. Okay. Then for online shopping, there's 4 that went out and none that went in. Okay. For the plumbing, there were 3 that went out and 1 that went in. For the face masks, there's 1 that went out and 3 that went in. So there'll be 1, 3. And then for the stick blender, there's 4 that went in and none that went out. So it would look like this. Okay. The ratio for the yellow one is 2, 2. The ratio for this green one is 4, 0. The ratio for the blue one was 3, 1. Ratio for the red one was 1, 3. And then the ratio for the fifth one was 4, 0. So the whole point here is now we're going to draw a stairway like this, okay? And the one that goes at the bottom of the stairway is the one that has the highest ratio, okay? So if you look here, the highest ratio is this one, the online shopping and theatre. That is the one that has the highest ratio. So that goes at the bottom of the stairway. So that is the driver. And I'll explain what these mean after I've written all of these things in. Okay, then the link 2. So what's after 4 is 3. So this one, the plumbing and water, that's the one that goes. Oh, wait, there's a tie. There's a stick blender. Oh, wait, no, that's not. It's not 4. Sorry, I wrote it wrong. It's not 4. Not, yeah. Okay, then the plumbing and water was 3, 1. So that's the one just below 4 is the highest, then it's 3, right? So it's that one. Then after 3, we've got 2 over here. This is connectivity. Okay, and then after connectivity, we've got this one, which is face masks. That is 1. And then the last one is 0, 4, which is the stick blender. Put that one here. Okay, so now I'm going to explain what these mean. So the bottom of the staircase is the one that you start with. That is the driver. So the driver is our online shop and theatre. which makes sense because when we were going through that whole list, it sounded like that was very popular. So the online shop in theatre is the one that you would start with. That is your number one, priority. And once you've done that, then you can look at the next one, which is plumbing and water. So plumbing and water is an essential need. Every single person needs plumbing. It's not something that's only going to be there during COVID time. So it's also a very important one. And you could either have a diverse business like Richard Branson, and you could have all different businesses running that are totally different and totally separate. And you could have all of these that you start one and then that one grows and gets to a certain point. Then you start another one, then you start another one. Like he's got very diverse things that he does. Or you could just say, I'm focusing on number one and then that's it. Like I'm happy with my online shop in theatre. That's fine. So that is up to you. But the nice thing about it as well is that sometimes things can link together, and we'll see if anything else links with number one, which is the driver. But the driver is the one that you would start with. So out of all these options here, if we were starting a business tomorrow, we would start with the online shop in theatre. Okay. Then if we weren't doing the online shop in theatre, we'd do the plumbing and water. And then we go into connectivity, and then we go into masks, and then we go into the blender. So the outcome basically is the end product, like the last step that you would take. So let's say that you've got your online shop in theatre, then you'd link that to the other sections because we're saying links. So let's pretend that this is the Richard Branson one where we have all of these businesses. So we set up the online shop in theatre first, everything's going well. Then we say, okay, we're adding the plumbing and water section. So how we would add that into our online shop in theatre is we would have a section there where we say you're having plumbing issues. These are your options of how you can fix the plumbing. These are the quotes that you can get. You can get an online quote and whatever. You can fill in all your information and get a quote here. You can book your appointment. You can make payment here. Everything is done online. But the only obvious thing is that people have to come and do the plumbing physically. But it can be booked online. So that can be the link between the two. Then the next one's connectivity. So you can also have on your online shop a section where you are selling fiber, any kind of data, any connectivity that you need so that they can do everything online. They can say, well, I need to get fiber. This is my information. Can you give me a quote? And then they can book their fiber installation from there. Or if they want to buy data, they can buy it there. Anything to do with connectivity can be done on your online shop. Then the third one is face masks. While you're on the online shop, you want to order face masks. Great. Go into the section of face masks and PPE and you can order and then they deliver. And then the four is a stick blender. There can also be a section for those people who are sick at home. These are all the products that we have on offer. It can be maybe a rental process or you can buy them. It depends how you want to do it. And it can be a service that's provided that people will come and deliver whatever you've ordered online. So you see how everything actually fits into the online shop in the end. It actually all makes sense. And that's why it says that's the driver. It's the driver of the whole process. Now you see the percentages here on the side. So it says how much energy are you putting into these things? And then on the other side, it says what are the results? So if you put in a lot of energy into something and the results are not good, then you know that it's not working. So let's say you started this online shop and it's just not doing well. And you think, but this was the driver. This was the one that's supposed to do well. It means that I'm not putting energy in the right place. I need to relook at that because if I'm putting in 80% energy, I should be getting a good result, a positive result. So let's say you're putting in 80% of energy into the third one instead, because you love connectivity and you're putting all the energy into that, and your results are bad, then you know that that's also wrong. Or maybe the results are good, but that's why your bottom driver is not working because you're putting the energy in the wrong place. You have to start with the driver. That's where your focus must be. And then from there, you can add on the others. So the driver is the most important one to start with. Does that make sense? Or does anyone want me to re-explain any of that? Someone said, can I zoom in? If I zoom in, then I can't type. So I can zoom in for now, but then I'll have to go back. I'll have to start again to type anything. Here's the zoom in. So remember, this diagram is not those things there are the example. Obviously, our ones are different. So the driver is the online shop in theatre, which is the bottom one, the green one. Plumbing and water is the light blue. Connectivity is the dark blue. Face mask is the red, and then the stick blender is the yellow in this diagram. So that's the staircase. Does anyone have any questions about it? Or anyone have any comments, how useful the tool is?
Could I ask, so in terms of your the stairway and that, so I'm saying would one be able to sort of do this, you know, with products, sort of new service lines, but also just sort of to do a business plan with what you currently offer as well? Am I correct in that understanding?
Yes, you can use it for what you currently offer to check what your priority should be. So maybe you've got those 5 different offerings and you want to check which one should you be pushing the most, like which one is the most successful, the one that could be the most successful. Maybe it isn't because you're not putting in the right effort if you see their energy input. So once you do this exercise with those, then you could also find out which one is the one that you need to work on. And once you've done this exercise, you'll see the next part is about more the research and more the, you know, the nitty gritty details of it. But this is the first exercise to get that idea and the high level thinking of what is the most important. So you would start with this and then you'd go on to the more detailed version of it. And then you might change things around a bit. You might say between 2 and 3, I think 3 is better than 2. And then you can do that. But at least you can see what the overall outcome should be in one picture. So it is a very good exercise to do with current products, with new products, with new business ideas. It can be used for anything. It can even be used for your life. You know, if you're thinking, what must I do? You know, I have all these priorities, but I don't know which one is most important. I want to study my master's and I want to go to Japan and I want to whatever, you know, obviously after COVID times. So you could do this exercise as well for that. So it can be used for any prioritization. It's very versatile. It's a nice way of getting your mind open and thinking and getting the team to also say what they think, because while we're doing that comparison between the two, then debate usually happens. If we were in a room, we'd have to debate and say, I believe connectivity is more important than face masks. And then someone else will say, no, it's not. And they say, but why? And then you'd have this debate about it. And then the one person, you know, would like win the argument. And then that's how it would work. So you would actually get an idea of what your team thinks while doing this, which is quite valuable. Anyone else have a question or comment? Okay, I think we're all clear on that. So the next thing is the SWOT analysis. As I mentioned to you, there's those 4 quadrants there: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the strengths are what is working well and use these positive examples to solve the weaker areas. The weaknesses are what is not working well. The opportunities are where are the gaps. And then the threats are what obstacles or challenges do you face. So that's that SWOT analysis. There was the map I told you about. So this is a map of a school, but this could be a community, it could be a suburb, could be a city. So however you want to do it. And then you'd put in the physical areas, what's there, and then you'd write all the gaps or the challenges or the things that you would want to do to make money, but to solve problems at the same time. Like we always say, social entrepreneurship is the way to go for the future. So make sure that whatever you're doing is going to benefit the community as well. It's not only about making money, but making a positive impact. Okay. And then this is that whole interrelationship diagram and systemic stairway that I told you about. This is something that's used at Henley Business School as the part of the master's program. And they've said that we're allowed to use it for these sessions because they understand that it's something very valuable and it's a very practical tool that can be used. So we're lucky to have that. Okay, then the next step is step 4. So this is identifying the topic and describing it. So now you've done that whole exercise and you've decided that online shopping is your driver. You're going to work on that. So you've now categorized the ideas and you know that your idea is going to be the online shop. Now you have to describe the idea in full detail. So now you need to do the baseline research so that you can also measure later how you're doing. So baseline is very important to say, what is the situation right now regarding online shopping? Is there a big competitor that we need to look at? You know, who else is doing something like this? So I would say you would look at 5 different competitors and compare them and see where you fit in with that. And I think the competitive advantage for our little example here is that there's a theater element. None of the other online shops have that. Okay, you either have a theater or you have an online shop. There's nothing that's combining the two. So that would be something very different and something that would put you above and beyond other sections. And then obviously as you diversify and add in the other areas, like you add in the plumbing service, you add in the connectivity, that's also going to add on to your competitive advantage because you are much more diverse than a normal online shop. Like let's say Take-A-Lot. Take-A-Lot is just for products. That's it. You don't get services, you don't get theater, there's nothing like that. So you would be a step above that, you know, by doing this idea. So that's the example of what kind of research. You need to do the competitor analysis. You need to see what kind of money you would need to start this, what platform you would use. There's a lot of research, but we're going to go into detail in the next step on that. But the thing is, at least now you've got an idea that you're going to work on. It's not like, I've got millions of ideas, I want to do them all. It's like, yeah, but you have to choose one and focus on that, because you can't do them all at once. Well, you can't do them all properly at once. You can do them all half-heartedly at once. So that's what this is all about, is finding that one winner and backing that winner. So step 5 is finding the solutions and the target markets and brainstorming solutions. So who's your target market? Who do you want to come onto this website? You need to do the research on that. Are there people that want to go to the theatre online, or want to do shopping while they're buying theatre tickets? Who are those people? How are you going to find them? So find out who the target market is and what message you need to go out to them. And also brainstorm the solutions in your team of how we're going to do this, who's doing what. Remember the roles and responsibilities. So now that that's in place, you need to find out what are the conflicts, how are you going to resolve them, so that all of you understand at the end that the goal is the same, whether you in one department or another, whatever your role is, your goal is the same, and that is to have a successful organization and successful business. So that's what you need to do while you're busy brainstorming for solutions. And we're going to use another exercise that is going to help us with brainstorming, and that is called the 6 Thinking Hats, and that's by Edward de Bono. So the 6 thinking hats, basically these are the hats here. It's not very clear, so I'll just read it to you. Everyone in the team would wear a different hat, and it doesn't have to be a physical hat. You could have a little note that says this person is wearing the blue hat, and that person then wearing that hat will only think of elements related to that hat in that meeting. So you'll only get ideas about the process, the thinking about thinking, what is needed, organizing the thinking, planning for action, if you're wearing the blue hat. That is what you're thinking of in that meeting. Then your colleague is wearing the white hat, and the white hat is about the facts. So what information and data do we need? We're neutral and objective. What do I know? What do I need to find out? How do I get the information I need? So it's all about facts. That's the white hat person. Then the next person is wearing the green hat. So that's more creativity. So what ideas can we come up with? What alternatives? What specialities? Solutions to the black hat problem. So the creative people are going to solve the risks of the black hat people, cautions. So that would be the green hat. And then the yellow hat would be the one thinking about the benefits. So what are the positives and the plus points of this business? What are the logical reasons that we would do this? And why would our idea be useful? And the black hat is thinking the cautions, the risks, the difficulties, the weaknesses, the dangers. Logical reasons are given, spotting the risks. So that's the black hat. And then the red hat is the thinking process. So intuition, hunches, instinct, my feelings right now, there's no reasons for it. It's just a feeling, a gut instinct, like I know this is going to work. So those are the 6 different hats. And then in different meetings, they can swap hats so that everyone gets a different opportunity to see this through a different lens. And that's what's useful about it. It helps you to isolate the different areas that you need to look at, but then to also think of things in a way that's outside the box. And you might come up with things that you never thought of if you do things like this. So this helps you to understand exactly what the areas are. And we're going to do this exercise now. So you guys can choose which hat you want to wear and then give me an example of each of those things. Okay. So if you are a blue hat person, you're thinking about the process. So what process do we need to follow for this brainstorming now that we're doing about our business, the online shop with the theatre? Anyone have ideas? What blue hat ideas do you have? The process. What do we need to do first? What is the process? Okay, we've got a chat here. How would you do this if your business is 1 or 2 people? So then you would actually swap between you. So you'd have a moment where you are wearing the blue hat and your colleagues wearing the white hat. You finish that up, then you change. And you're wearing the green hat, the other one's wearing the red hat, then you change. And the other one's wearing the blue hat. So you basically go between those 2 hats and the 2 of you, but you separate them. So you don't just all do the hats at the same time. You say, right now, I'm wearing the blue hat, you're wearing the white hat. Then when you've done with all of that, then you swap to another hat. Okay. You can even do it by yourself. If you're just by yourself in your business, You say, right now I'm a blue hat. Okay, what process ideas do I have around this? Write them all down. You're done. Okay, great. Now I'm in the white hat. All the facts. What are the facts? So you can even do it by yourself. Great. Okay, does anyone have a blue hat process idea? Okay, if you don't have a blue hat, you can give me any other hat. Just say which hat it is that you want to give me. Maybe in this group we have other hats that are more prominent than the blue hat right now. But you'll figure it out as we go along. You'll see what the blue hat is about.
I'd like to wear the black hat and to warn and to reiterate what you said about do one thing well only. So when you have people that want to start a business on their own, or they want higher rates for what they're earning, you know, more payment for the hours spent, and it becomes divided in so many ways that you feel you've got one business, but actually you've got five, because people are not focused on the one. It is so important to focus on the one, and people forget that. And then because it's so easy to be distracted if you have, if you've mastered what you've done. It's so easy to there's so many temptations out there to stop focusing on really what works. And the idea is, as you say, Amanda, to focus on what works, as simple as that, and just to keep on doing it and to brush those distractions away. It sounds so simple. Children at school understand this, but adults don't. I don't know what it is, but it's a real huge problem.
Good point. So thank you for the risk there. The risk is to be distracted and to lose your focus. So we're going to put that as the black hat, the first point of the black hat. Now let's see if anyone else has other hats. So you can't read the info on the hats. Okay. So, and yes, the green hat is very relevant. That's true. So I'll go through them again. The blue hat, let's see if the next slide has something. Yeah. The blue hat is the process and planning. The white hat is the facts, data, and research. The green hat is the creativity, alternatives, possibility. The yellow hat is the benefits, logic, why ideas work. The black hat is cautions, risks, and dangers, which we just got one. And then the red hat is the feelings and intuition. So now you can each give me at least, let's fill up one of each of these. So we've got a black hat one. Let's look at any of the other hats. Who would like to give me some ideas on that?
From a blue hat perspective, I would think that you need to make sure you've got the connectivity before you can develop the mall in that, the online side of things.
Yeah, the connectivity and the platform.
Yeah.
Platform are you going to use? So I'm going to say choose connectivity and platform, because there are lots of options. We just have to choose which one we're going to use from all the options. Why do we want to use that one? What is the most cost effective? What's the most reliable? You know, there are many elements around that, but yes, we do have to do that. That is a process. So a blue process, we're going to choose the connectivity and the platform. Okay. So that is a blue one. Now we need to look at a white one, green one, yellow one, red one. Who would like to give me one of each of those? The yellow one should be easy because we just did that whole exercise. You know, choosing the specific one. Why is this the best idea? Why is this the driver? What are the benefits? Why does the idea work?
I think on a yellow hat, why the idea is gonna work. It's like during this time of COVID, people gonna use more internet connectivity. So we can't go to shopping because we'll be afraid of infected by the virus. So people gonna use the internet like that. Yes. On a black hat also, caution and risks and dangers. It's like when people they don't have too much data, maybe to go to the online shopping, or you buy maybe something that is not in the stores. It's gonna force you maybe to go and see it by yourself. So that is the way it can affect their connectivity, because people will be no longer maybe using the online shopping when this COVID disappear maybe.
Oh, you mean when people go back to the malls and they won't use the online one?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Great.
I think for the green hat, you know, there's new things I think it's more creating packages or something that would be more for the home user now. You know, you can, instead of just selling, say, fiber, you can now sell a security solution because people are using the solution from home. You can add a voice solution from home. You can add, you know, so it's now, instead of just selling the pure fiber, you can create a whole bundle or product.
Great. Thank you for that. Perfect. And now we're looking for the red hat. We haven't got any red hat and white hat. Okay, wait, we've got a chat here. Let's see. Okay, so the green hat, industrial theatre online. Let's add another green hat. Industrial theatre. And then the blue hat for the face mask and PPE, how to procure at a reasonable price to make profit.
I think for the black hat, you know, you could say things like, you know, what kind of a contract are we going to have? Because what happens if everyone decides to go back to work now? You know, what will the risk be to us if we are in a long-term contract with the client or something?
Was that for
and
the
then
black?
Also COVID, you know, like what are the dangers of installing fiber? Do we offer an alternative connectivity, because you don't want to pitch up at someone's house to install fiber and you get COVID or something?
Mm-hmm. That's why we need the PPE, remember?
True.
Okay. I still don't have a red and a white. The white is the facts, the data, the research. What research do we need to do on this new business?
You could maybe find out how feasible fiber is in an area. Go talk to the providers that you'd use. You can also see, you know, if how many people already have fiber in the area, so that's out, you know, so what else can you offer them on top of their fiber and that?
Yes.
And also price ranges of other providers in the area.
And I think, sorry.
Yeah.
Can I say, please, I also think you got to research, you got to see what the new trends are. So maybe long ago it was more about beauty and dressing up and all that, and it still is, and it will be a priority. But the trend today, I would say, is to get your home as connected as possible so that you can work or you can be entertained in a more educational way, and not to be intimidated by the new advances, because the trends are, the price of things are going down in order for more people to afford them. And so the trend is, although I'm not a trend setter, I don't know, I'm just following the trend. The message I'm getting all the time is that, well, you know, it's more affordable, it's more available, and you have to have more internet connection at home than previously. Thank you for agreeing with me, because it is out there. It's so obvious, you know, wherever you go, it's there. You don't need to search for it. It's really staring at one all the time. Yeah.
Now Kim's got an interesting under the green hat, where she says it's not only about connectivity, but how we connect as people. So making it more humane, more like personal vibe. You know, it's not just clinical online business. You know, it's like we also want to do socializing online. How do we connect as people? Because we're not meeting up, we're not gathering that much. How do we do that online? So that's something that can be a green hat thing. The only one that no one's mentioned is the red hat. And I think people are scared of the red hat, but that shouldn't be the case. It's a feeling and intuition. It's like you just have this gut instinct that this thing is going to work. I'm sure you've all gone through that. It's like you sitting at a restaurant and you're thinking, what must I order? And you're looking at the menu and then something just pops up at you and you just have this feeling, this is the meal that's going to be good here. I just know it's going to work. It doesn't mean it's always right, but you might just have that instinct. And without even using research or logic, it's just you have this feeling, and we have to trust those feelings, which is also part of the connectivity thing, like the human connection. So how do we make this a more intuitive kind of thing? What can we add onto this? It's not just some other online shop. So I think the red hats maybe can come to that. Yeah.
Can I add as well? I think that the naming of the brand, or the naming of the shop, or the naming of the restaurant is so very important, because if the name catches one's attention, then the meal obviously will be more, will get more attention, and so it'll go on and on. But the initial, to get that initial attention is very important, and possibly naming must be looked at very closely.
Yeah.
So if the name is right, I don't know if I can drop any names, but I certainly feel more comfortable in certain places, and I have more of a sense of humor and just enjoy myself more when the name is right. It helps me a lot to relax.
Yeah, that's all about the brand. Yeah.
Yes. The brand, you say, Amanda? Yeah.
That's why people spend so much money on branding. Exactly that reason. Got to get it right.
And maybe another aspect is on the feelings is to sort of concentrate on trying to make it more of a human interaction rather than a secluded COVID shopping mall and connectivity.
Yes, exactly. Need to have that human element. I think that is the key thing. Like, instead of having a robot answering your questions, you have a person. You have someone at a call center who's going to actually answer your question, who's warm and giving and nice. That could be quite a nice competitive advantage. Not the normal call centers, the nice one. Okay, yeah, let's move past connectivity to how we connect. Feelings, we need to connect to build relationships, to collaborate and then impact. Exactly. So that's why we're saying this shop is not just going to be very clinical, very technology robot kind of focused. It's going to be more the human element. It's going to have those personalized touches. You're going to feel like you're actually, interacting with someone who cares. So I think the care is very important. We'll put that under the branding part. It's a caring nature. It's not just we want to make money from you. Come to our website and we want to make money and we don't care after sales service. Who cares? There are some online shops that are like that. They don't care about you. Once they've got your money, that's it. We are not going to be like that. We are going to be about the relationships and about the connectivity between people, not the connectivity of the internet. We're going to be about caring. How do we solve your problem? Not just how do we make money? How do we make sure you are happy and you've got what you need? So that is the difference. That's a competitive advantage of what we're going to do as compared to other online shops. So I think we've done this exercise very thoroughly. I'm sure it makes sense now that we've given some examples. And this can be used, as I said, for anything. You can use this, even if it's just you can do all the hats by yourself, or in a team, you can each wear different hats. It's up to you how you do it. But it's nice because it focuses you on a certain point. You're not just all over the place brainstorming and then everyone comes up with all the fun ideas, like the green stuff. Everyone wants to do the creativity. And then you have no idea of the risks, no idea of the facts, no idea of anything else, but you've got all the creativity. You need a balance. And that's why this is a very good exercise to get that balance. Okay, so then step 6 is planning the actions and budgeting. Okay, so now the money comes into it. So you need to draw up an action card that explains what needs to be done, what resources are needed, how much time is needed, and if any budget is needed. So obviously we will need a budget for this. And we have to remember we have to manage our time and our budget. Time you cannot get back. Once time is gone, it's gone. If you've wasted a week, that's the week gone. You're not getting it back. And a budget, obviously, if you don't have the money, you have to find the money. So it's either getting investors, getting partners, you have to find a way of getting that money. And then also to plan your campaign, your sales campaign. I say fundraising, but that could be getting investors. And then the sales campaign is how you're going to actually launch this. You need to do a marketing campaign. You need to do all kinds of things to get people to know about this new shop. So all of this is planning, and then the planning will have this action card as you see in front of you. What is the action that's going to be taken? Who are the people assigned to that? What resources information do we already have? What resources information do we still need? How much time is it going to cost us? How much money do you think it's going to cost? Or how much money do we have already? Maybe we've already got funding or money that we need to raise. So we do this for each element, and we can do it for each of the hats even, which can be quite useful. At least you have everything in one table and it's easy to see, and you know who's supposed to be doing it, which helps. And then a step further from the action card is step 7, which is managing the team and doing the actions. So managing the team at meetings by looking at the action card that gives deadlines next to people responsible, and show how the action plan may have changed during the implementation phase. Things don't always go according to plan. And then use the timesheet in the table if you want to use the timesheet to teach accountability and responsibility to the team. So this is the action card I was mentioning. What needs to be done? So you'd write the person's task. What is it that needs to be done? Who's going to do it? Which person is doing it, or which team? What is needed? So they need to say what they need to do that task, and then by when. Now, if you have this set up from the beginning, and every time when you have a meeting, you bring this out and you say, okay, so Jay and Pretty, you said you're going to paint the mural by the 18th of June. Today's the 20th of June. Have you done it? And they say, oh, I didn't know it was me. No, I thought it was actually Pindi that was going to do it. I don't remember saying that we were going to do that. And then you're like, but here it is written down. So something went wrong with the communication because your names are here. Or maybe they say, what, was for the 18th of June? I thought it was the 18th of July. So you see how it's a very good way of getting people accountable. After the first meeting, no one's going to make that mistake again. They're going to ask you in between and say, sorry, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? I need these paint brushes and stuff. I don't have it. How do I find it? You know, I'm having a challenge. I don't think we're going to meet the deadline. Can you help me to find another solution? And that's how you're going to get things to happen on time and make people accountable. But in a way that everyone understands what is the task that they're supposed to do, and that they're comfortable with it and they're happy with it. And that's why it's a discussion. It's not an interrogation and throwing everything out the office when you don't see this being done properly, because in the beginning it will be a learning experience. But once everyone knows this is the process, then it's going to be much smoother. And that's how team management works much better, because then there's no miscommunication, there's no arguing, there's no blaming. It's on the paper here. This is what it says. If there's a challenge, let's help each other to fix it. Let's assign a new deadline or assign new people if these people are not right for this job. And then you work on it like that. So this exercise is very helpful, I found, for any team. They've always found this very helpful. And then changes from the plan to action. So maybe the plan was you're going to do it a certain way and it didn't work out. So what did you do that was different? Was there different time cost? Was there different money cost? Maybe you underestimated how much it was going to be and it was way over budget, or maybe it was under budget, or maybe it cost you much more time. So you talk about that, because people understand that planning doesn't always work out exactly as you planned. Life happens, but be aware of what the changes are and let people know about it so that it's transparent and that everyone knows why it was like that. It's not anyone's fault. That was just life. Okay, the step 8 is showing the evidence and maintaining the impact and sustainability. So now remember I said in the beginning, you do a baseline study. So you say, right now, this is the situation. We're starting this business. We want to do A, B, and C. This is the climate that we're in. These are the competitors that we have. These are the goals that we have. And now you come back and you say, okay, so from where we were to where we are now, what is the progress? And that evidence that you would use to manage that is, any invoices, receipts, contracts that have been signed, plans that have been made, like your business plan, any wins that you've had, any business that you've got. Maybe you've already gone quite far and you've set up the online shop already. So that would be evidence. And you do this throughout the time. So you keep on measuring. You don't just say, okay, my goal is that I'm going to get this online shop up and ready by 1 year's time. And then between now and 1 year, you don't ever evaluate and say, how am I going according to that deadline? Am I on track or not? You just leave it. And then you get to the deadline. You're like, oh no, haven't even got halfway there. And then you blame all kinds of things. But the thing is, you need to evaluate as you're going. A business plan is not something you put together and then you just use as a doorstop. It's something you actually need to use and make it a live document and keep updating it and changing it and adding to it and evaluating it so that you know you're on the right track. So every time you have a team meeting, I'd say once a month, you go through your goals and you go through where you are now and you compare them and say, are we on the right track? Are we actually making progress in the right direction, or do we need to redirect? Maybe it's this thing is losing all our money. It's not working. Let's find something else. Let's find another way. Like, don't just put yourself on the path and just carry on throwing bad money, good money after bad, and then the whole thing fails. So you need to keep on evaluating and seeing how things are going. And that's why it's important to have the baseline study and the goals to check against each other. So you don't just make like a 5-year plan and then just wait until 5 years. You have to keep on evaluating as time goes on. And then you have to check your impact. So I always use the example of a restaurant. Let's say you start a restaurant and you have customers that come in the first day because they're excited. There's a new restaurant. They want to check it out. Let's say 10 customers come in that day. The next day, only 2 come. And you're like wondering, okay, but what happened now? There were those 10. Did they really hate it that much that only 2 are there the next day? Or those 2 new people, or those 2 people from yesterday that came back? You have to evaluate, what is it that caused this? Is it that they didn't like anything about the place, or was it that they found that it's a once-off experience, like they've done it once, they've ticked it off the list, not coming back? You need to make sure it's repeat customers. Like our customers that we want in our online shop, they mustn't just come there once because they want something. They must come all the time because there's more stuff that we add all the time, more services, more products. So they want to always come back and see what's new, what's there that I can do. There's a new theater show that we want to watch. So you have repeat customers and you get loyalty. We don't want just people coming once off. That's not how to make a sustainable business. So that's why you have to check that, and you do surveys and you do a lot of market research to see how people are responding to what you've done. And then you need to change things up if it's not working. You need to have promotions, you need to have competitions and whatever to get people to want to come back. So that is important as well, because that's for sustainability. As I said, if it's a once-off, people just come and they go, it's not sustainable. So you also want them to spread the word. Maybe do a campaign where they tell 5 of their friends about the online shop, and then if any of their friends buy something, they get a free gift or something. So those marketing elements need to come into it. There's a lot of promotion that will come into this website, because as I said, there's lots of online shops, but we have to show everyone that this is a different kind of shop, and why is it unique, and why would you want to come to our shop and not another one? So that is part of the step 8. And you can talk about, in that section, you can talk about how you tried a certain thing, it didn't work that well, you redirected, you tried something else, it did work, and then you say what worked. So this is where maybe if you want to have those pie charts that someone mentioned, graphs and pie charts, this is where this would come in. You can put it anywhere, you can put a pie chart wherever you want, there's no rules against it, but definitely this section would be great. You'd say, so when we started 5 months ago, here's a pie chart of what the situation was. There were 5 different online stores, and they were each getting this percentage of the market. And then we came on board. In the first month, we took 5% of the market from them. The second month, we took 10%. The third month, we took 20%. So you can show that growth with charts like that. It's quite nice to have a visual representation and not just a lot of text. So why I say here, the evidence can be photos, surveys, testimonials. Like we were saying with Orchard testimonials, if someone benefited from being part of the program, they're being asked now to do testimonials, video testimonials, and maybe even written ones. All those things are important because it gets people to want to be part of that thing. If someone else liked it, then you're going to want to try it as well. And I know that it works for me. Like I go on Facebook, if someone says, I recommend this restaurant, I want to go to that restaurant. I want to see what the hype is about. So that really works. So that's that kind of thing to put in this step 8 is very important. You need to show the customer experience. You need to show why they liked what you're doing. That you need to show the maybe you can even show a pie chart of like the kinds of things that they bought. You say in the first 6 months, the products, whatever product was the most popular, we sold 20,000 of those. And then in the next month, we added in another service, and now that one was even more popular than that other product. So you can actually show as time goes on how you added to it and changed it. And like what people want to see is that you're managing the situation. You can see what's working and you make it work better. And you can see what's not working and you put less energy on that. Like don't flog a dead horse. If something's not working, say, okay, that thing, this plumbing thing is not working. Unfortunately, people don't want to go online and book the plumbing. So we take it off. Take it off. It's fine. Then we say the connectivity part, the fiber and that's working very well. We're going to put more energy in that. So you keep on reassessing as you're going along. It's not a once-off thing of everything is now there and we leave it all there as it is forever. Keep on chopping and changing. And the nice thing is online, you can do that. you can make changes online. It's not something like a building where you have to go and knock down walls and whatever and rebrand and get, companies to come and put up signage that costs so much money. It's online. It's very easy to make changes. So that's the benefit of it. It's another one that I would put under one of those hats, the benefit hat. Then after that is talk about it, communication and motivation. So firstly, within your team, the motivation is very important and the communication. And it's different, the internal versus external communication. What you talk about in your internal meetings is going to be the confidential stuff. It's not going to be stuff you're going to tell, the public. If the newspaper wants to do an article on you, you're not going to talk about the internal stuff. You're going to talk about the external, because maybe there's some challenge that you're going through that you're dealing with, but you don't want that to be, front page of tomorrow's newspaper. So just manage that situation, make sure that you have spokespeople who are properly trained with media training. And that's, remember, social media now, everyone can post whatever they want. Just make sure they know what is allowed and what is not allowed. Even as staff members, even it's personal things. So they start saying racist comments, suddenly your business is in big trouble. Things like that. You need to be very careful about and have policies in place, because that can really backfire. Everyone can go and post whatever they want these days. So you have to manage that. And then marketing the right message to the right target market at the right time. So having the right message at the wrong time, not going to work. Having the right message to the wrong people, not going to work. Having the wrong message to the right people, not going to work. So you need to get all of those things right. And if you can't do that yourself, you can always outsource it to professionals who do that. There are companies that are, very used to that kind of thing, and they can help you. If you do feel like you can do it yourself, then that's also great. If someone in your team is the professional at that, that's also great. But that is very important. Without the marketing and the communication, no one's going to go to this website. If they don't know about it, they're not going to go there. So that's going to be key. And then keeping the team motivated, as I mentioned long ago when someone asked a question about that, celebrate the small victories. Like even a small victory, let's say you had 2 people that bought something today. Celebrate. That's 2 more than we had yesterday. Don't always focus on the negatives and the goals and then just get all bogged down in that. Always celebrate something small. Even in the first part of your meeting, you say, okay, guys, let's look at the highlights of the week. What actually went well? And whatever it is, celebrate it. Build up the morale like that. Okay. And then the social media I mentioned. Okay, so do you have any questions on those steps before I move on to the last section?
Please, can I ask, the person who's supposed to do the motivating, is it supposed to be one person, or how many people must there be in that role? How many people must wear that hat? Is one sufficient? What happens if you're all on the same, you're all managers, for example? Who should take the lead and who should submit? Have you any ideas?
Okay, so if you're all on the same level, I would say the person involved in the marketing communication should be the one, because they know how to do messaging, they know how to do communication. So they would probably be the ones with the most interesting way of doing that motivation, like in a more strategic way of doing the motivation. But everyone then must motivate each other as well. If you're in a meeting and someone is not happy with the situation, they're very depressed about something, then everyone needs to help that person to come right. Otherwise, they're going to bring everyone down with them. So, it can't be like, oh, well, I'm not in charge of motivating, so I'll just leave you to be upset about things. Like if there's a problem, we have to fix it. I wouldn't say that it's not my job, I'm not doing it. Everyone is involved in that. Like everyone is involved in getting business to the organization. Like everyone needs to promote the business. It's not just because there's a person who's in charge of promoting the business that they're the only one who does it. Everyone has to, even by word of mouth, mention that there is this online shop, and tell their friends at Bry's and tell their friends at virtual Bry's, and they need to all be invested in the same outcome. So if something's not going right, then everyone will step in and fix that. So I wouldn't say there's like one person in charge of it, but in a strategic way, I would put the marketing person, because let's say when I worked at a company, they had a person in marketing who was in charge of like the HR and the morale of the company. So when there was like spring day, they'd all go and buy little pot plants and put them on our desks to make us feel special that we got something for spring day. And it's, like their feeling of community. So that's what I mean by more strategic. So throughout the year, they'd have a calendar and they'd do things on those days, like Valentine's Day, they'd give us all little chocolates. those kind of things. But that's more a strategic way of motivation. But if it's all managers in a room and they've got specific issues, then they need to sort that out amongst themselves. A pot plant is not going to fix that. So yeah, that's my answer to that question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Anyone else have a question before I go to the last little bit? No. Okay. So the last bit, using my mouse here. So the company profile. So you'd put together, so the business plan is what we just did now, but then you can put together a very short document, which is a company profile. And that is what you would send out to prospective suppliers or prospective investors, things like that. Nice short one. That will be your introduction document. And the profile is a professional summary of the business and its activities. And you need it if you want capital and to win investors, but you can also use it to inform other stakeholders, including clients. So the business details will be the first section. So you'll say when you begin, you gather the details such as the company name, the established date, the physical address, phone numbers, fax numbers, if anyone uses faxes, website URL, email addresses. So that's just the basic details. And then the company basics. So the items that will vary depending on your business type. The description of the business, including the vision and or mission, product descriptions of services, history, expansion and growth, public relations, advertising, industry information, safety, health and environmental practices and policies, core team details, client portfolio. So those are the sections that you'd have there, and that each have a paragraph and maybe pictures or graphs as well. And then you'd also add in a section on highlights. So the next set of items may not apply to everyone, but if you have any awards that you've won, certifications, special programs and projects, testimonials, news or media recognition, you can put that under highlights. And then optional items, you can add in annual sales, financial targets. Someone said to me, is this just a financial document? As you can see, no, it's not just a financial document, but there was a section on budgeting and finance. And here as well, the financial targets and annual sales. So that is very important, but it's not only about that. Number of employees, partners, photographs, that can go in there. And yeah, then once you've done that document, you can use that to promote your business. And I hope that you've learned many practical and valuable skills. And remember, planning is key, but you always need to be flexible and be ready to change your plans in order to stay relevant and profitable, especially now. So that is the end of our discussion. But what I want to do is go back to our expectations and see if we've answered them. Okay. So do you think we've answered the practical knowledge of the business plan? You can say yes, or you can just type yes if you believe it's so, or no if you don't. Okay, we've got a chat. Yes. Okay, great. So we've done that. And the advantages of an effective business plan. Is it clear now why it's a necessary thing to do? Like, why do we need a business plan? Has this highlighted the reason for it? Yes. Okay, great. Do we need graphs, or, did it explain where graphs would go? Okay, we've got a yes for that. Why is it important to show up at work every day as a leader during COVID? Was that answered? I think the motivation question might have answered that. Okay, we've got a yes. Competitor analysis. Did we go into why we would want to do a competitor analysis? Yeah, we did. Is it only financial or other? I think we answered that one. Yes. And must we mention our main target? Well, yeah. How are we going to run anything without knowing who our target market is? I think we made that quite clear. Okay, so we've managed to meet all the expectations, but remember, this was a crash course, an 1.5 hour session. You guys now need to go and sit with this information and try and apply it to what you're working on. And if you have any questions or anything that's not clear, you're welcome to contact Tracy or Laurie, and they can bring me on board to assist you. Happy to help if anything didn't make any sense. But I think that with this grounding, you can definitely take this and make a big change in how your business is running right now, because it covers everything related to business. It's very broad, but it's also very practical. So it's something you can actually do. It's not just listening, it's doing. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Amanda. I think today we certainly covered all our expectations of this webinar and the importance of having and understanding what a business plan is. We are so grateful to you because you make it always seem